Lithuanian students. But before we do, I want to give you a little background to this relationship that we all have. The first year that the students from MBA and LSMU met, we visited Rumshisky's open-air museum and Irina Spakowskiene, the woman on whom the character Lena Vilkas is based. Coincidentally, a wooden carving of a mother reading a book to her child in Siberia, where they had been exiled, was dedicated that year to the museum and to the fraternity of the Laptev Sea survivors, who gathered there annually. On the one hand, the carving is a reminder to them of the responsibility one generation has to remember the past and to teach it to the next generation, lest it be forgotten, a responsibility made more significant when a regime like the Soviet Union or the Nazis is trying to eradicate your history. On the other hand, the carving represents a teacher reading an author's words to a student and emphasizes the importance of an education, the importance of understanding one's history. Tonight, we are gathered in this place in part to celebrate the magic that can happen and that has happened between teachers, students, and an author. I mentioned earlier tonight that through Ruta Sepeti's connections in Lithuania, a magical relationship began between MBA and LSMU in Kaunas, Lithuania, the city from which Lena and thousands like her were taken in a cattle car to Siberia. 5 years ago, teachers from MBA and LSMU agreed to read Between Shades of Gray together as all school reads. Since then, we have taken 47 students from MBA and Harpeth Hall to Lithuania. LSMU has visited Nashville 3 times. And this year, we are delighted that St. Cecilia Academy has joined this relationship by hosting LSMU Girls for the Week. This summer, more than 12 more MBA boys will travel over 5,000 miles with their teachers to learn about the past that they have read in Between Shades of Gray. Through it all, we have sung each other's national anthems, walked each other's towns and cities, danced to each other's music, eaten each other's foods, and even been sick in each other's homes. We have been free to be friends. Through it all, Ruta has remained interested in and committed to this partnership. Name another international best-selling author who would do that for students and teachers. To help us celebrate this magical partnership, she has given us a special viewing of Ashes in the Snow and rearranged her schedule to be here with our Lithuanian friends. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ruta Sepeti.
Good evening. It's such an honor and a privilege to be here. I want to thank everyone at Montgomery Bell and St. Cecilia Academy, all of the host families, Headmaster Joya, all the teachers who are involved in this, and to our honored guests. Labas vakaras, malonu. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much. I feel that we are at our best as human beings when we collaborate, when we take a moment to listen and to look through another's eyes and consider their heart. And I know when I'm trying to write books about hidden history, that's what I'm trying to do. It's a collaboration. And I often say that I write the books, but they're not my stories. History writes my stories. And then I pass them off to the most important people, the reader. And I write books for young readers. And I am very blessed that my books are published in over 50 countries and read by adults. But I write for you. You are the future. You are the ones who are going to carry our fading stories, from the past and preserve them into the future. You are the ones who will collaborate. And I'm so honored that we got to show the film here. We have screened for NATO, we have screened for members of Congress at the US Capitol, we've screened at European Parliament, and it just keeps going. But this was such an honor and a privilege to screen here tonight for you. The film itself was a collaboration. I have to thank Marius Markavicius, the director, and Žilvinas Naujokas, the producer. Ben York-Jones wrote the screenplay, and some of you are wondering, so how involved, is an author? Sort of involved. But they were very, very generous. And we had other partners come on board. The legendary folk singer Bob Dylan, his mother was Lithuanian, his father was Ukrainian, and when he heard about the project, he gave us his song of freedom, Ring Them Bells, for the end title of the film. If this is Nashville, so people here probably know Bob Dylan personally, you know that, he doesn't take part in a lot of projects, not even a Nobel ceremony. And when he came forward to give us this song, I was so grateful. And his stipulation was that in honor of his mother, a Lithuanian woman had to sing the song. So the final song that you heard was by Gian, Ring Them Bells. And Gian is a Lithuanian artist. So I think tonight this is a celebration of story, and sometimes history can be a little bit overwhelming. But through characters, there can be a moment of connection where we feel for someone, and at that moment of connection, our heart opens and we care for people we've never met, and suddenly we want to find their small country on a map. And that is the power of story, and that's a power that you have shared with me today. This would not be possible for me, and Emmett was so kind to mention this partnership. Emmett Russell has been so involved, Will, but really the person that brought me here is my husband's cousin, Sherry Roberts. Thank you. And so, we talk about these partnerships and these collaborations, but sometimes we don't know how they came about, and I am here because of Sherry Roberts. So thank you so much. We have so much more to come. I am staying. I will be here. I would love to sign books or meet anyone. For the students who are here that are going to Lithuania this summer, I hope to see you there. Please introduce yourself, before you leave tonight. So I will turn it back, I believe, to, Ingrida, you're next.
Before we hear from Ingrida, I think we've got some entertainment by way of a song from one of the LSMU students and a traditional dance that they will perform in the center of the dining hall.
Jei ne auksinės vasaros, ne mėlynos vasilkos, nebūtume atėję čia, kur slenka dienos pilkos, nebūtume atėję čia, kur slenka dienos pilkos. Taip tyliai slenka vasaros, pražydę gėlės vysta. Mes tyliai šluostom ašaras, palaidoję jaunystę. Mes tyliai šluostom ašaras, palaidoję laidoja jaunystę. Išeisiu vieną vakarą ir jau daugiau negrįšiu. Šydės vasilkos mėlynai, bet jų nebematysiu. Šydės vasilkos mėlynai, bet jų nebematysiu.
Labas vakaras visiems. Sveiki, sveiki. Taip smagu Nešvilėje matyti lietuvius, iš tikrųjų. Sorry, I just told a few words for Lithuanians who are here. It's fantastic to meet them in Nashville. Okay, so after this dance, I'm not sure, my talk, my speech was a bit philosophical, and after this dance probably, but anyway, I'll say what I have prepared, my notes. Have you ever wondered what a human life is worth? That was the second when I read it, and I hooked on the sentence, you know. Have you? I don't know what students learn in US schools. I don't know what they learn about stories of displaced Europeans. But my generation, I'm 51 actually, I grew up with them. And we Lithuanians, we really know that life's true gift lies in freedom. With each new sunrise, we are given the opportunity to live and never take life for granted. We grew up with many told and untold stories of survival, when engagement with life was reduced to instinct, when the reality was no longer real. My generation learned from our parents and from grandparents that a human being can survive any atrocity and still come out the other side wanting to live. Sometimes it sounds like absurd. Another day of that. Because what else is there but another day? Even if it's just another day of starvation, misery, exhaustion. I think hope is always present, and hope is present everywhere. We learn to understand one thing, that when you rob a man of everything, he's no longer in your power. He's free. Lina Vilka's story is not just history. I wish it was that simple. It's a story of one Lithuanian soul. It's a tribute to Lithuanian soul. What I see is a history of feelings, what people thought, understood, remembered, what they believed in, what were their illusions, hopes, fears, what they experienced until their story turned into memory. Finally and surely, this is the love story, because love was and is the only force that keeps people alive. Love in times of death. Thank you, Ruta, so much for trying to remember when others forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Ingrida, very much for those really thoughtful words and a lovely way to talk about the power of your book and the power of love and hope. And my wife and I certainly have a lot of hope about the world after we visited Lithuania and what a great place it is. But I should just start, and this is short because Emmett and I plan to finish this on time. I want to thank Emmett for doing so many things to make this relationship and this week and weeks before and others like Fran and Will and other people in the room have worked, Sherry obviously, who've done a lot to build this relationship. And as Ruta said, this all started with Sherry's coming to see me about using your book as our all-school read. And I'd always hoped that the power of an all-school read would be that a lot of people would come together thinking about a book. Parents, students, teachers, grandparents, alumni, and friends. And your book has been as successful as in that mission as any other work that we've looked at, and look what it's created. Now 5 years of wonderful relationships. This past fall, Emmett and Fran Stewart came to see me about going to Lithuania and seeing the premiere of this film. And I told them that is a wonderful opportunity. I'll think about it. It was in October, and we were obviously in the middle of school, and I said, I'll talk to you on Monday about it. And I got back together with them, and I said, I'd love to go, but actually I think one of you should go because you've done all the work. And I get to do a lot of great things for MBA, but I knew both in my heart and head that they had done all the work over these 5 years, and I was proud of that. And they looked at me and they said, no, we want you to go. And I'm really glad I did, because my wife and I got to see how wonderful the country is, how wonderful the people are, how much they love America. I mean, statements by George Bush are carved on walls about, how much a friend America is. It's in Vilnius, I believe, in the city center. And we now cherish this relationship. And we are grateful for St. Cecilia's work as well this week, and all the parents that have helped host. And we are thankful that we have these wonderful students from Lithuania here, and I hope you have a great week. And it was heartwarming to see your school and to see that relationship come alive in Lithuania this fall. I am appreciative of all those connections and how it started, Ruta, with your work. And you did a little research that became a lot of research in Lithuania that has developed these great books. And just to end on a note that is a sign of hope and growth and the power of beginning something and developing it, I asked Ruta during that trip if she would speak to the International Boys School Coalition in Spain next July, not this coming July, but 2020. Because I knew how important her stories are and how much the boys' schools around the world would want to hear those stories. And we had a wonderful conversation about how the soldier in the film who, ultimately killed himself at the end, but how you saw his humanity come through in the midst of all this horror. And what a great message it is for boys and young men and people that work in these schools to think about issues like that, and I know you'll do a wonderful job. So this story has blossomed in great ways. I am thankful for all of you who worked on this and just proud to be part of it. Have a good evening.